go. Okay, so I had mentioned to the group that we were going to keep it simple today, and the practice would be about keeping it simple. As the day went on, I must admit, my own recollection was like, what did I say? Did I say we're going to keep it simple or we're going to keep it real? If you can do both at the same time, so much the better. Maybe more of a little neurological nudge to myself, trying to remind myself to keep it real. But no, we're going to be keeping it simple. So what do I mean by keeping it simple? Well, I'm going to start by just asking you to arrive, okay? So just allow yourself to become comfortable in your seated position, okay? Notice that I said seated position, but you absolutely don't have to go there, okay? You might be lying down or you might be standing. For any of the decisions, like so I mentioned, there are going to be a few little decisions to make right off the bat here. These are fairly earth-shattering in nature, so you don't have to feel too conflicted about what happens. Oh, I should have gone this way, or I should have gone that way, or done it differently. No. Don't worry about that. Instead, what I would ask you to do as I pose, and actually the one thing I've got to ask is, I don't know who it is, but someone's not muted, and so I'm getting what sounds like a 680 News traffic report, which interestingly is probably less disturbing than much of what's going on up here most of the time. But yes, thanks, awesome. So for these questions that I'm going to pose to you, okay, so just allow yourself to arrive, allow yourself to be how you're going to be for the next 20 minutes or so, and that's what we're going to aim at. And I'm going to be strict with myself today about timing, so know that whatever position you're in, you don't have to worry about keeping time or has he drifted off or lost me or anything like that. I'm going to leave you in silence for big swaths of this, okay, so we can sit together. But on the fives, roughly, I will check back in with a couple of cues, okay, with a couple of things for you to think about. And what I would suggest to you right off the bat is the position that your body is in. Can you maintain that position comfortably for a period of time? And don't look to the analytical mind for an answer, the thinking mind. Instead, can you simply allow the answer to bubble up from your body? Good. Question 2 is, what's happening with your eyes? Now, I may actually shift my position momentarily because this space has been quiet all afternoon, and now it's not, but just bear with me. If I have to adjust myself, then I'll adjust myself. Okay, so eyes open, eyes closed. Totally up to you. But decide what feels comfortable. This is about keeping it simple. So if the effort involved, and yes, there's definitely some effort muscularly to hold your eyes shut. So you might go for, sort of a half open, or you might go for fully closed, or somewhere in between. Just not focusing, just letting your body sort of decide what feels right. And these changes these decisions that I'm asking you to make about body position, eyes, and a couple more to come, try to commit to them. So give yourself a moment, let the answer sort of bubble up, but then as much as possible commit to it, knowing that if it becomes sort of intolerable, it's taking you out of the practice to stay with that decision, then you might ultimately decide to shift around. But again, treat that as a kind of a one and done, okay? I was sitting, it's not working, I'm standing up rather than losing myself, and back to it, okay? Third question is, do I need anything else before I begin? Okay, now we've begun, but as you move into this meditation, just ask yourself that question, do you need anything? And on a related note, can you put aside the things that you don't have to attend to at this moment? And so here's the brilliant news, if it's news to you, is that right now you don't have to do anything at all. No people to see, places to go, just here, sitting together in community, smiling at the stuff that the universe throws our way, all the little unexpected things and expected things. And can you let go of what you don't need? So if it's attending to, we're worrying about things from earlier in the day or things you may need to do later, can you just set those aside? Can you invite in to your experience whatever it is that you feel like you need? Okay, maybe it's adjusting your position, maybe it's just taking note of your breath. Just noticing if you can balance between a real sort of alertness, awareness of what's going on, and relaxation. So we're not so keyed up in our awareness that we're, getting wound up, getting, activated, but also not so calm that we become lethargic, not so chilled that we become chilled all the way out. It's like you're paying attention curiously, you're curious about your experience. In fact, the more curious you can be, the better it can be. The less likely your mind is going to turn to something else to amuse it or some sort of novelty. So be curious, but don't be uptight about it. There's balance. Tune into your body, tune into your breath. What are you feeling? What does it feel like to be that breath? What does it feel like to be in your body? Don't try and change either of them. I'm not trying to shift the experience. This meditation today, all observation, so like concentration, but simple. Concentration on low stakes. I said that there'd be a final question. So here it is. Can you choose something on which you're going to place your focus? Something specific or sort of specific. We'll get into that in a second. That you can maintain your attention on. I'm going to give you a specific handle or a specific cue to guide you here. We're going to be here for about 15 minutes more. Pick something that you actually want to pay attention to. So no snap judgments. Take a moment or so here. And just let your open awareness just sort of settle and wander. Where does it gravitate? For many of us, traditionally, this would be breath. Either some aspect, location of the breath, or pause between breaths, or the inhale or the exhale. And alternately, if you want to stay with feeling, and in particular if the breath feels too, it winds you up or slows you down, whatever, maybe pick a spot in your body. Something that feels interesting. Something that you can tune into with that relaxed curiosity. If you are feeling stirred up inside, choose an external place for your focus. Choose something that you can look at that's outside your body. Choose something you can listen to. Okay. Or, and this is maybe a little bit trickier, choose a flow state. So choose the flow of the breath in and out as your body literally rises up and drops down, feeling that balance. Or or just the changing nature of the noise in your environment, or the changing nature of a little bit of real estate on your right leg, whatever it is. But with that focus, you'd be really drawing down into how things are changing moment to moment and staying the same. One final word here before I leave you in silence, before you commit to that. And that is, although we may choose to focus on thoughts, that's a legitimate object of meditation, as I said. It's also, minds can be playful. Let's go with playful. I'm going to say tricky, but... And the trick is that thoughts can become so all-encompassing. They create your reality, and you may lose the meditation in the thought, like you actually become lost, identified with your thoughts. So unless that is a regular part of your practice, let's leave thoughts aside. Commit to your placement of focus and stay with it. Doing what you're doing, being how you're being. is happening right now. Just right now. Simple. Keep it simple. Right here. Right now. Maybe considering, like, what does this feel like? What does this now, this right now, feel like? Not judging the experience though. So not like I like this or I don't like this or I want more of this or less. It's just, what is this? What is happening? To some extent, you are this awareness. Like, you are what's happening here. Filter out the distractions, all the other stimuli. This is what you're left with. How was it? If you get distracted, try putting a little mental flag down. Oh, it was this. I was caught up in X, or I got distracted by Y. So just by planting a flag, I mean, just note it, kind of make that note and stick that there in your awareness just for a moment, and then let it go, knowing that you can attend to it later. Might be some feedback or something to learn there, but that's for then, not for now. Just stay with the feeling of now. Simple. Not necessarily easy, but simple. Good. Now, if you've kind of come off the path, if you've gotten distracted, well, no shame in that. Congratulations, you're a human being with a brain, with a mind that has a mind of its own. Just come on back. Recommit now. Recommit to whatever it was that you're curious about observing. Remember, you chose this. Or did you? Did it just kind of present itself? For me, me, this keeping it simple meditation, there's no premeditation. So I truly didn't know what I was going to place my attention on until I placed my attention on it, which was presented to me. And it's simply the feeling of the sun, the heat on my skin. A little bit of perspiration I can feel under my glasses. All the places that I can sense that sort of barrier between myself and the external environment, whether it's skin or hair or clothes or whatever it is. Now, or how I'm placing my focus is kind of not the point. Tend to your focus. Place or places where you're living right now, like this is it. This is your experience. And it, like saying this is it, it's not a bad thing. It's liberation in a sense. This is all you need to worry about. Or not even worry, this is all there is. So a little question or two for you. Hold that sort of gentle, curious observation. Notice what you're noticing. Notice when you're not. And then notice the relationship between what feels like you, like yourself in this equation, and whatever it is that you're resting your awareness on. Whether it's a part of your body or something in the external environment. Notice the feeling of space that might exist there. The idea that, or the feeling that there's a you, and then there's the thing, and then there's some space between you and the thing. So even though the sun is coming down and it's beating on the skin of my body wherever it's exposed, when I first check in, it feels like me up here, up behind the bridge of my nose. It feels less like me down there. I can observe that. And you might even notice a bit of direction in that space. So feel like whatever it is you're observing is being pulled in toward you. You're actively bringing it into your awareness, or is this something that moves in the other direction, that pulls you out toward it, like a salmon? Something that maybe is trickier to ignore. And maybe these questions don't matter at all. Maybe you're just like, wait a second, I thought we were keeping it simple. So keep it simple. Stay with it, whatever it looks and feels like.
Yeah, yeah. Relate to it, yeah.
And like the dog barking in the background, as if to say, slowly come back. So the noticing isn't over yet. Notice what distance may have been traveled. Not physical distance, but not even necessarily mental distance, but notice if you feel different than you did 20 minutes ago. Notice if you don't. But often, at least in my experience, whether it's, it can hang a positive or a negative kind of hat on it, I almost always feel physically and often mentally and emotionally different post-sit or on the other side. So just notice what's happened. Maybe wondering, how did that all happen without my noticing, even though I was so busy noticing? It's like riddle upon riddle. So you notice what you've noticed, and now you notice how you feel. And before we move on, I'm going to ask you to just pause for one more moment, like a half a minute, just a few breaths. Feels like we're just trying to pause here so that the mind wants to often get really cued back up and into things. So don't rush to what's next. Sort of let this all sort of distill and take it in. And you might even end by asking yourself before you really get up to go, what do I need right now? Before I undertake whatever's next in my day. How do I feed myself? How do I support myself? So that I can actually show up and be present. All right, thank you. Well, I'm thanking you. You thank you. You don't have to thank me. I'm happy to be here. But thank yourself for practicing. All right, and as I always am noting the evolution of my sign off, say peace in and peace out. There you go. I hope that was a good one. All right.